Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We've got Ahmed Sule, who is the Sec.Arewa Youth Consultative Forum. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, so this is Arewa Youth Consultative Forum. It's not the same thing as Arewa Consultative Forum,
No,
is
it's
it?
not.
This is the youth wing.
The elders. ACF is the elders.
Oh, okay.
The Northern Elders Forum.
Okay. So what is the position of the Arewa Youth Consultative Forum on this particular matter?
What particular matter?
The threats issued by the Igbos to leave the north.
You know, this country is a very unique country, Nigeria. So many things that needed to be done the right way at the right time don't get done because situations like this have come and gone severally before. We have a sovereign state with sovereign powers, whether it is the president or whoever it is in charge is duty bound to take care of any situation that is going to threaten the unity of the country. That is the meaning of sovereign. Nobody should tamper with it. Now, over the years, for example, what brought about this, the declaration that you heard last Tuesday? You have the Igbo people. The idea of Biafra within the sovereign states has become like a very child play. You don't try to make jest of situations like that, especially in a country like Nigeria. When you are within the state and then you are talking about another country in a country.
So it is
so when
the Arewa Youth Consultative Forum supporting the threats issued to them to leave the north?
You see, what I'm trying to tell you is that when things get too much, because we tend to be getting used to allowing them to get away with it.
With what exactly?
Why should you be always talking about Biafra? And the ones that do it, you can see them are the younger ones. Now, the Arewa youth has never talked about breaking away from this country. In fact, all we do in our programs is making sure this country remains united.
Isn't that what they invariably have done by asking the Igbos to leave the north and then the northerners in the southeast to come back to the north? What does that mean?
Because when you make threats and you get away with it, it doesn't mean the other. Look, for example, now the average northerner is looked upon at a very funny position, because if you talk about illiteracy, Hausa, Namalam, now this and that. Now what is it depicting? We have swallowed it. We have learned people in the north just like any part of the country.
I'm trying to understand
now,
the nexus.
Yes.
How does that?
So now.
How does that connect with the threats
so now
that were
today,
issued?
when situations are developing the way they are.
No. Could you connect that, or was it just a one-off? I mean, I didn't get your point on that.
No, it's not. It's a serial of developments that somebody, for example, in the north, if it is not the Arewa youth, what other organization actually stands out, sticks its neck and say what is supposed to be said. Now, for example, what makes you think the ACF ended up backing what the Arewa youth leadership said? The position we took is simply because we are not fighting. We are just saying, well, if it is Biafra you want, always your card on the table is you want to break away. It's a kind of a marriage, unity. You are not satisfied, okay, please start moving. There is no fight in it.
Well, let me, that's it, there are many perspectives. I'm just wondering, so what exactly is, because you didn't seem to have addressed the reasons preceding their sit at home, unless you're saying, does that violate any laws in this land by people sitting at home to mourn the dead?
To mourn the death of who?
Those who fought in the war. Because that's the reason they gave for asking people, sit at home and observe that one day. What law has been violated by that?
What we are talking about is beyond that sit at home thing. You see, the average northerner knows what he feels. The impression of him from the other parts of the country, especially the southern part of the country. The northerner accommodates a lot of stress and pain of insults. Very slight, salient insults.
Is the North marginalized?
Every part of this country is marginalized because it's either you belong in the system or you end up being marginalized.
So there's a system failure in this country.
What is the system failure? There is a constitution, whether it is the people's constitution or whatever. But who is using the even this very constitution that Nigeria is sitting on today? If you want to operate that constitution to the letter, the problems of Nigeria will be reduced to the barest minimum. It is the operators. Is the operators who create the problem. So as time goes on, accumulation of various problems, every section is being marginalized. You end up reacting in very different ways. Even they talk about breaking away. It's all because of the marginalizations experienced.
Do you agree to have a sovereign state of Biafra exist on its own?
If they can manage it, and there is no war about it. The North is not claiming power of governance in this country. We are not, as Northerners, talking about we have the government and we control it. If you think the Northerners thinks they are in control, they are the government or they own the country, it's because of your own failure to hold on to your own.
When you say it's the elders, are you referring to the authorities in government, the governors, for instance?
What elders are we talking about?
When you said you were referring to elders, you said that they are the reason why we're going through this phase in this country. Could you clarify the elders you're talking about? Are they the governors? Are they the elite class in the society that is bringing about these problems that we have?
Yes, you see, just before I came on, I was talking with an elder statesman there, up there, and we were talking about elders and the roles they ought to play. We talked about the youth, and what he even gave me in our discussion gave me enough for thought. Because at my age, I am the National Secretary General. So,
is that normal?
In a normal society, it's not normal. Because my position ought to be run by some 30, 40-year-old young man.
So you think we're not a normal society, or is it that the group doesn't showcase itself as a normal?
It is the normal
scenario?
society. It is.
No, but you're not Secretary General of the country. It's your group.
My group, yes.
Which is the northern group.
The mentality you have to run such organizations like we have, where, for example, now we churn out these kind of statements. The statement that you saw there about the 3 months, for example, has no any inclination of violence, because violence is the worst thing that comes up.
Okay, but because you clearly you didn't condemn that statement, so we'll take it that it's your group, you're part of the group that issued that statement. But we've seen several leaders saying no, that is not right. Are you still saying you don't see any reason whatsoever for you to say no, we made a mistake in issuing that statement?
Several leaders from what part of the country, or the whole, all over the country?
Didn't you say you were going to use force?
For what? We never said we were going to use force. Do we have any weapons to use force?
But you know that statement is capable of finding the embers of
other statements,
ethnic strife, which is very dangerous.
Other statements like we want to succeed in a country that has a sovereign state and a president did not.
Why did your group dare the police to arrest them?
Have they arrested them?
Why did you dare the police? They're challenging
the police
constitutional authority.
As a policeman, when you are given orders, you are supposed to function.
Let's go to Marpa. We'll come back to you in just a moment on this. Marpa?
Clarification that your group Arewa Youth Consultative Forum was a part of this Arewa Youth Coalition. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. It is.
And you see absolutely nothing wrong in what it is in the statement that the Arewa Youth Coalition came up with?
There is nothing wrong. There is nothing abnormal in it. If somebody will declare a secession in the country... You do not think that your statement could have sparked some hatred somewhere, some violence somewhere, even though you say you meant no violence? You do not think that is what could have happened at the end of the day? Would you have taken responsibility if that had happened? Are we praying for that to happen? Is anybody in this country praying for violence to take place? So many things. Nigerians are vocal people. They talk.
Well, you just...
But we don't have violence because of talks. After all, it's a free state. It's a free country. You have freedom of speech. Somebody has a right to say he wants to break away from a country and nothing happens to him. And then you have somebody who is just talking about...
for different things. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, great. Well, you have admitted that right now, as we speak, the country is currently charged. People, different groups are agitating for different things. You do not think that making a statement in the manner that you have made, using the words that you have made, saying that certain sections of this country were an ungrateful people, those are some words that came out from that statement, some of it bordering on hate, could not have sparked up some violence which would have been uncontrollable in some areas?
You see, what I am trying to tell you is, are you hoping for such violence to take place? Or are we always praying on the hope that this country gets back on her feet? These are two different things. Everybody knows the state of this nation. And yet we just pretend. All of us, we are pretenders. We say one thing, we do another thing. For example, now when this administration came into being...
I'm not getting you correctly now. Because I'm asking very specific questions. There are certain words that were used in the statement released by the Arewa Youth Coalition that border on hate speech. Some words calling a certain section of this group ungrateful. Those were some of the words that you used in the statement that was released. You do not think that it was capable of causing violence?
It cannot be unless you are already prepared for that violence. It's just a statement. It's just a word. Use of words.
But that's the thing. You see it as use of words. But we have several, the police, including the police, have said, look, that is a wrong speech, that's hate speech. The governor of Kaduna has said that, and you should not be making that statement because you can find the embers of ethnic crisis, which nobody wants in this country. But you still don't see that. Why?
Because you see, so much water has passed under the bridge in this country. Worse things have taken place, worse things have been said in this country against the interest of this country. Nothing happened, nothing has been done.
Okay, we'll pick it up from there when we return in a moment. Don't go away.
To the fact that the northern youths did their irresponsible press conference in Kaduna, like I explained to you, our concern is the fact that the so-called press conference that herald the so-called Kaduna Declaration actually hold here. This government has been consistent in taking action to punish hate speech and incitement. People who may feel unhappy about irresponsible comments or actions that have taken place in other states must know that two wrongs cannot make a right. And they cannot use our state to do or say things that threaten peace of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Kaduna State government has therefore ordered the arrest, investigation, and prosecution of the signatories to the statement of yesterday.
Sunrise, our concluding moment with Alhaji Ahmed Sule. Let's let you listen to this particular comment, which is part of that statement that was issued, and we'll get your response on it. Let's take a look.
From today, June 2017, when this proclamation is signed, the North, a critical player in the Nigerian project, hereby declares that it will no longer be disposed to coexisting with the Igbos and shall take definite steps to end the partnership by pulling out of the current federal arrangement.
Do you believe that that statement is seditious and treasonable, of which you're part of?
Well, the fact that the statement is being made not in the same context that is being highlighted. Because you see, like I told you, I've been saying it since I came and sat down here. You have a group of people over the years working hard on breaking away from the country. Violent means has been applied severally, going back right down to the Civil War. Now, what happened?
Yes, we get your point, but the statement that was made, do you believe it is seditious and treasonable?
It's not treasonable. It is how you want to interpret it. It cannot be treasonable if you cannot turn around and say there is treason in the Biafran stand. You shouldn't turn around and say there is treason in such.
This is along tribal lines now?
Now, the whole country has been run along tribal lines for how many years? This is a country that is a sovereign state. Independence was gotten through the unity and agreement and understanding of the several the tribes.
So what does the North want?
The North wants peace. The North on its own is fighting anything that is retrogressive to this country's progress, especially the Arewa youth. that is not hidden. But you see, the North is now fighting on two fronts. You are fighting to protect the image of the Northerner, and you are fighting to get those people whom we are talking about earlier on. You are making reference to who are the elders. Now, those same people constitute a very larger threat to even the younger ones that are coming up with their fresh ideas.
Okay, let me jump in, pardon me. The police have issued statements that they're going to arrest those who have made those comments, because at the moment we do know that Nnamdi Kanu is being tried for treason. He's on bail. Why should you and your group members not be arrested?
Who said our group members should not be arrested? Did any one of those people say they should not be arrested? They cannot be arrested.
You dare the police. It was reported yesterday that your group dares the police to arrest them.
I think I'm going to make the same statement I made earlier on. If there is an order inviting somebody, or if there is an order of arrest given out from the courts or whatever, or from the powers that be, then the police have a duty to go and effect the arrest.
Including arresting you?
Including arresting me. Who am I?
All right, Ahmed Sule, Sec.Arewa Youth Consultative Forum. We appreciate your comment on this morning.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back in a minute.